and dance. We give thanks through song. We show our sorrow in song. There's so many things that are expressed in song. When we were taken from the motherland on ships, we were laid side by side like sardines. There was a hymn, an old African hymn that was sung, and it went like this. In the 1770s, John Newton, an English poet and clergyman, was a part of the slave trade. There was a major storm on a boat one night, and he went up and he cried out to the Lord, "Lord, have mercy on me." That started his spiritual journey. He could no longer be a part of the slave trade. As he went across the Atlantic and back and forth, he would hear this hymn sung by the Africans that were below ship and were suffering. But they sung and they hummed this tune. And one day he just stopped with the slave trade. He couldn't do it any longer. The Lord wouldn't allow his heart to be there anymore. And he put words to this song. And the words went, "Amazing grace. How sweet the sound.
How sweet the sound.
That saved a wretch like me."
That saved a wretch like me.
You see, I once was lost, but now I'm found.
Was lost, but now I'm found.
See, he was once blind,
Was
but now he can see.
but now I see.
The passage was hard, from rum to molasses to slaves. Many of the slaves had heard about the rumors of the horrors that would happen when they came to this new shore. And many of them decided that when they came there, they would not deal with the atrocities.
The African American spirituals were used by slaves to sing through their pent-up emotions and their expressing sorrows. And Frederick Douglass, a former slave, wrote, "I did not, when a slave, fully understand the meaning of those rude and apparently incoherent songs. I was myself within a circle, so that I could then neither hear nor see as those without might see and hear. They breathed the prayer and complain of souls overflowing with bitterest anguish. They depressed my spirits and filled my heart with infallible sadness. The remark in the olden time was not unfrequently made that slaves were the most contented and happy laborers in the world, and that dancing and singing were referred to in proof of this alleged fact. But it was a great mistake to suppose them happy, because they sometimes made these joyful noises. The songs of the slaves represented their sorrows rather than their joys. Like tears, they were a relief to aching hearts. Songs like Steal Away and Swing Low, raised unexpectedly in the dusty fields, to signal that the coast was clear and it was time to escape. The River Jordan became the Ohio River or the Mississippi River or any body of river that helped them cross the journey to freedom. Wade in the water gave them explicit instructions to fugitive slaves on how to avoid capture en route to successfully make their way to freedom. Leaving dry land and taking the water was a common strategy to throw pursuing bloodhounds off one's trail. The Gospel Train and Swing Low, Sweet Chariot all contain veiled references to the Underground Railroad, and Follow the Drinking Gourd contain a coded map to the Underground Railroad. The title itself was an Africanized reference to the Big Dipper, which pointed the way to the North Star and freedom. Even after the Emancipation Proclamation and the Union's victory of the Civil War ended slavery in 1860s, the African Americans still did not have their freedom. And around that time, by an unknown author, a song called "Old Freedom" came out. And this song had double meaning. It meant that they wanted their freedom not only spiritually, but physically. You hear it during the Civil Rights Movement, and they started singing this after slavery as a protest song to let you know that they were not happy being a slave. Oh, freedom.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
Like Cookie was saying, there were songs that the slaves sang. The slaves weren't allowed to read. The slaves weren't allowed to even learn the language. They never sat them down and taught them the English language. They had to learn it on their own. But that still did not deter them. They still were determined that one day they would see freedom in their lifetime. So, when they would have their meetings, they would get together and they would have a secret code. And this code would be songs like Follow the Drinking Gourd, or Go Down Moses, or Wade in the Water. And they would sing these songs, and they would have these call songs where other slaves would know tonight is the night. Tonight is the night that you follow the North Star to freedom. One of the slave songs that they would sing would be Steal Away. Steal away, steal away, steal away, steal away, oh, steal away, steal away. I ain't got home to stay here. They used songs like that because the masters thought that they were having church meetings, that they were singing these beautiful spirituals, but actually they were code. They were code saying that someone's coming for you tonight. Tonight is the night that you steal away home, steal away home to freedom. Yeah. After the Civil War, we faced a different kind of slavery. The Emancipation Proclamation did not free a slave because if you look at the logistics of it, Abraham Lincoln was the president of the North, not the South. The slaves ultimately freed themselves. It was their own tenacity, their own strength, their own faith that they took up arms and said, you know what, I'm going up north and I'm going to fight for my freedom, for my mother's freedom, my brother's freedom. Because many of them had been split up from their families. Many of them didn't know where their mother was or their father was. But then there was a different kind of slavery to be faced. You see, we were starting the Industrial Revolution, and there were roads to be paved, and there were railroads to be made. And many times a young black man could find himself in jail, but that didn't deter him. He still sang those songs. He still sang those call songs, those songs of hope and determination while he worked on the railroad. One of those songs, Lightning John, we're going to listen to now. black free people who were not really free had to work on the shores and the riverboats that were coming by on the Mississippi.
What's she saying?
There was a famous
Push play.
movie, Showboat, that was about that